This podcast is protected under the laws of the United States and other countries. Unauthorized duplication, distribution, or exhibition may result in civil liability, criminal prosecution, and the wrath of the tall man.
Boy! Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Catbus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 94chill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety, 4 FOR, chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
Ellie, you gotta help me. I swear to God, I'm not joking. Okay? I was abducted. I'm in Manitoba. This guy wants to turn me into an animal or something. He's fucking nuts. You gotta please come. Please, 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 please. I don't know where he is, but I'm somewhere. I'm in his weird fucking house. I'm like 2 hours from Winnipeg. I'm so fucking scared. I'm so scared I'm not gonna see you again. I'm sorry, I was such an asshole. I'm so sorry. Cut off my leg, Ellie. Please. Okay, just get here, okay? Call the cops. Ellie, I don't want to die in Canada.
Thank you for checking out this episode of I Dig Crazy Flicks with Catbus Russ. My name is Catbus Russ. It is being dropped a day early because I will be at GalaxyCon St. Louis this upcoming weekend to do a couple of panels. Saturday will be the 90 for Chill panel, and Sunday will be the 1985 Triple Threat match. So see if we get a different result this time around when it comes to Schwarzenegger versus Cannon versus Stallone. This panel that you're going to listen to, and pardon the audio quality, I did not expect to get a room full of 40 people. Jess McCord from Skies of Fortune just knows how to pick the topics better, dare I say. This panel is A24, Horror Goes to the Arthouse. We're just going to discuss A24 and the idea of elevated horror, or how I wish we'd just have settled on Neuro-Spicy horror. So let me get my formalities out of the way. First off, thanks Nick's Clips from the Cinema Shit Show, who's going to be part of my panels in GalaxyCon St. Louis. But I need to thank my Patreon subscribers. That's Tim Bates. You can find him on the episode about Charles' band-produced Arena from 1989 and the horror classic Night of the Demons. And the Scoop Saley, a former AAW backstage personality. They get a free waterproof sticker. I shouldn't say free, we'll get to the terms. A shout out on each episode as long as they're subscribed to the Patreon, patreon.com/IDigCrazyFlicks. And you also get access to the original Podbean 90forchill.com, the podcast episodes. So if you want to see how I've grown as a podcaster, just $3 a month gets you all of those perks. It also gives Ava the Queen Kitty 3 tins of cat food if it's got to be something more important than my podcast. I think all I have to do besides, again, thanks Jess McCord for letting me be a part of this panel. He's also returned the favor for me from being on the GalaxyCon Des Moines 90 for Chill, the podcast panel. Really, I should just cut to the chase. I gotta thank Station Marie Harden for keeping an eye on me, keeping me out of too much trouble. And I hope she's doing the same for everybody else she touched in her life. And I hope she's squeezing the ectoplasm out of Skimbleshanks the One-Eared Angel. And if you want to be a guest on I Dig Crazy Flicks, just offer me a movie, a theme, a director, an actor. Try to focus on movies that are bonkers or under 100 minutes. And I'll gladly give you 40 minutes at the very least to fry up some podcast gold. So I think we can just jump on to the show and stick around after all of the formalities at the end for a little bonus pre panel chatter with the audience. Thanks for checking out I Dig Crazy Flicks, and check out Skies of Fortune on Blue Sky.
Hello there.
Pardon the interruption, but before I forget, please follow me on Blue Sky, Instagram, or Threads at CatBusRuss. Rate and subscribe on your favorite podcast apps, 5 stars preferably. Be as honest as you'd like to be in the comments. And now on to the panel.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
Bring the noise.
Like Philip, I conjure thee to speak to me. Speak as thou dost speak to Jonas and Mercy. Dost thou understand my English tongue? Answer me.
What dost thou want?
What canst thou give?
Wouldst thou like the taste of butter? A pretty dress? Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Yes.
Wouldst thou like to see the world?
What will you from me?
Dost thou see a book before thee? Remove thy shift.
I cannot write my name.
I will guide thy hand.
Okay, so that was Anya Taylor-Joy in Robert Eggers' movie The Witch. Perhaps signing her soul away for the taste of butter and a pretty dress. So my question to you is, are you ready to live deliciously? Yeah. And you know why I like that clip? Because it's goated. All right, so there's Black Phillip for you. All right, welcome to our panel, A24, Horror Goes to the Arthouse. My name is Jess McCord. I'm a horror movie aficionado. That's why I'm doing this. I'm also a game dev and a podcaster. And my colleague here is...
Russ Stevens is the name. The moniker is CatBusRuss. I host a podcast called I Dig Crazy Flicks. It drops every Wednesday morning. And as long as the movie is bonkers, I'm happy to talk about it. idigcrazyflicks.com if you want to communicate and get to work on something.
Cool. So what do you know about A24, Russ?
Well, I know that it's a label a studio that's only, or distributor, probably the better term.
Yeah.
That it's only about 12 years old, I think? 2013?
Yeah, it was about 2013. Yeah, we'll get to 2012, actually.
Okay.
2012, yeah.
I just, when it was more like, this was our new, dare I say, Miramax, at least for the last decade, until, you had the likes of Neon come out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you saw A24, it's like, well, this has to be interesting.
Right. They remind me of Focus Features in, like, the early aughts,
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to get into, I'll give you the lowdown on a few things about A24. So, it's an independent film and TV production company launched in 2012. by some veteran producers, guys that already had been in the business for a while, knew what they were doing. So it started in order to share movies from a distinctive point of view. A distinctive point of view, whatever that means, I'm not, we could probably argue about that for a while. They've had 2 Best Picture winners. Anybody seen Moonlight? Okay, how about Everything Everywhere All at Once? Yeah! Hey, love that. That's the one that I haven't seen Moonlight. I really liked Everything Everywhere All at Once. TV output includes Euphoria and Has Been Hotel. Those are the major ones. Most relevant here, as we know, Has Been is big at this convention this year. They attained early successes in the horror genre with The Witch and Ex Machina in 2015. The Witch being the directorial debut of Robert Eggers, who recently released Nosferatu with a different company, and Ex Machina being written by Alex Garland, the creator or the screenwriter of 28 Days Later.
Written and directed by
Alex Garland. Yeah. When did Danny Boyle have to do with that then?
Danny Boyle was the director of 28 Days Later.
Okay.
And Sunshine. It wasn't until Dread was going kind of not going the way it should have that it was pretty much ghost directed by Alex Garland, and that kind of not a financial success, at least in theaters, but they knew the guy had talent, and then they gave him Domhnall Gleeson and Oscar Isaac before Star Wars.
Yeah. Cool. So anyway, the last thing I want to point out is their highest score box office has been 2023's Talk to Me with $91 million box office. So I did a little bit of research on how much they make on these horror movies, and especially on the early ones like Under the Skin, which is directed by Jonathan Glazer, starring Scarlett Johansson. The answer is not very much. They often lost money on some of these. So it's good for us so that they kept going, right? So I'm going to give you now a list of some of the most relevant horror movies that they produced. So they've introduced the talents of Robert Eggers and Ari Aster, most notably. Perhaps the Philippou brothers with Danny and Michael, who did Talk to Me and Bring Her Back. Come out earlier this year. Ty West did the X trilogy with X Pearl and Maxine. Alex Garland, yeah, you guys like that one? Yeah, that's good stuff. Jonathan Glazer, as we just mentioned, Under the Skin, Zone of Interest, was an Oscar winner too. I classify it as a horror movie. I don't know if you've seen it. Most people would say it's like, World War II drama, but, it's about the family that ran Auschwitz, so I don't know what else we would call that. Scott Beck and Brian Woods are some, Iowa boys, and they made a movie called Heretic. Don't know if any of you saw that. Kevin Smith, probably heard of him. Don't know if you've seen Tusk. Well, Tusk is certainly a movie that exists. Yeah. Yeah. Oz Perkins, who went on to do Longlegs and the Monkey earlier this year. First directorial debut with The Blackcoat's Daughter. And Arthouse darling Yorgos Lanthimos with The Killing of a Sacred Deer. He's done since then Kinds of Kindness, Poor Things. What's the one he did this year?
Eddington.
That's Ari Aster.
Oh yeah, no, that is.
Yeah.
What, the Lobster?
Yes, Lobster's Yorgos 2016. Yeah. I can't recall.
I feel like he did something this year. I just don't remember
what
it was.
I think it hasn't dropped yet.
Yeah, maybe not.
Right. He's done something. Emma Stone won't stop bugging him, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, he is doing something with Emma Stone. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's something about where she gets kidnapped or something. I don't know.
Right. I mean, that's where she won her second Oscar.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really Emma Stone's become his muse all the way back to The Favorite, which I liked, but that's more of just I think more Olivia Colman and Rachel Weisz. But
yeah, A few other movies you may know. I didn't have enough room to put everything on the slide here, but we've got Green Room, which is a Patrick Stewart thing, where Patrick Stewart plays his most villainous role of like a neo-Nazi leader. It Comes at Night, horror comedy, Bodies. I saw the TV Glow. Anyone? Yeah, you like that one? Yeah.
See,
People.
I couldn't get. I just hesitant because they also produced the director's first feature. We're all going to the World's Fair, which is good experimental stuff, but it's an experiment.
Yeah. I saw the TV Glow though. I don't know. I haven't seen We're Going to the World's Fair. It's on my list, but I really liked. I saw the TV Glow. It was like nothing I've seen before. A vision of horror that I never considered. So I definitely, if you like a slow burn, if you don't like a slow burn kind of movie, you might not want to see it. But really, I can, and it's probably not for everybody, but I really recommend giving it a try. Okay.
Well, it's a slow burn, but it's it's a really brief runtime, all things considered.
Is it like an 80-minute movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Love it though. Saint Maud also on my list.
Same thing with that director's. I don't know, it's necessarily horror, but they did Love Lies Bleeding.
Love Lies Bleeding, yeah. With Kristen Stewart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a pretty fun movie. With a magical realist ending for sure. Give it a try. So what do all these movies have in common, folks? Can you think of anything that? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, if there are supernatural elements, they don't always start that way. They usually seem to start with people in different situations, whether it's in the 17th century Puritan New England or more modern times. It seems to be regular people, and then they kind of build up if there are supernatural elements.
They build from there, right? So you start with regular human situations.
So Heredity comes to mind. Hereditary, comes to immediate mind there.
For sure. Ari Aster's movies are kind of like that, right? Anybody else have any thoughts about? Yeah, go ahead.
They like to leave that open for viewer interpretation and discussion.
Okay, so they're more open-ended than.
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
The Saint Maud's a good example of that.
There's always some kind of a subtle thing that like word for it right now. Metaphor.
They're more metaphorical.
Subtext, I think.
More subtext, more nuance. Yes.
I find myself disliking some of the main characters.
You find the unlikable main characters? Okay.
Actually, I didn't think about that. Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right. Anybody else have any ideas about what kind of unifies the idea of what we think of when we think of A24 horror? Psychological horror, more dread than, slasher jump scares. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? But, yeah.
They all have an atmosphere that just creates, anxiety.
Okay.
Like when I watch, Hereditary, the grief that the family feels is so real, but also with the supernatural element to it. It's like, how is that anxiety then translated into the horror that happens?
Right.
What was afraid is another.
Yeah. Underappreciated, I think, of Ari Aster's work. I mean, not that he is a huge canon yet, but Beau Was Afraid is really good at making you anxious. Also, I think just a note about that. I think Beau Was Afraid is interesting in that I think, expresses largely masculine fears, and I think, but that's a whole other conversation. Anybody other suggestions before I go on to the next topic here? No? Okay. Yes.
I'm just adding on to him. It has vibes.
Has vibes? Yeah, has vibes. Okay. Now, have any of you heard? Okay. Any thoughts from you, Russ?
No, I think that. If you're a atypical theater goer, I'm not saying I'm. Anything art house, you kind of have to come in. You kind of have a taste of pretension. I'm not saying these movies are pretentious. I'm just saying that there's a reason why they're not making million. I mean, they don't have $100 million movie in a market where if you don't make $1 billion, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, but Weapons just did bank though. They did. They're not an A24 film, but they just did $250 million.
Right, and same thing with Sinners. No, it's a great stage for horror now.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that the Weapons ad campaign worked for some. It didn't entice me.
Okay.
But
it worked on me.
Well,
yeah.
I guess I'm just like, maybe I just don't like kids, I guess. Why am I going to care about 17 children?
If you don't like kids, maybe it's a good movie to watch. I don't know. Y'all seen Weapons? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, one more thing that kind of connects them. It seems that a lot of the fear and dread comes from or how they're impacting human relationships. Like a lot of those films involve families as the main characters, but even in like the Lighthouse, where there are only 2 characters in the entire film, it's about the breakdown of their personal relationship. Or in Tusk, where it's not a good relationship to start with because the guy was a jerk and mocking people online, and then he loses connection with his friends and with the villain of the film in Tusk.
Yeah.
Well, I think he gets a pretty. I mean, going with Tusk, I think Justin Long's character actually is most alone after he ends up having to kill Michael Parks.
Yeah.
So
it's just a wild movie. The Tusk. Justin Long tends to kind of play some jerks in horror movies, doesn't he? Have you seen Barbarian?
Yeah. You also know Justin Long is in the movie that he's going to get the shit beat out. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's true.
There's nothing bad that happens.
Did this last time. He was just in. I saw him. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, like I saw him and I was like, oh, he's gonna die in a horrible way.
Now, if you're a millennial or older like me, you may remember him as Matt Guy. Do you remember those commercials?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe that just is programmed into us. The
right,
idea that he's punchable.
And of course he's a bad representation. Like, because I'm a Matt Guy. It's like, oh gosh, sure.
Yeah, yeah. He just was kind of spineless and Drag Me to Hell, I think. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask you all this. Have you heard this phrase? Elevated horror. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So, I got a little something to play for you here. Everybody know Joe Bob Briggs? Yep. Okay. Let's see what Joe Bob has to say about elevated horror. This is where we get contentious, okay?
Elevated horror is a term used by people who hate horror to describe horror films that they like.
I think it's a little bit more than that.
Nope, that's pretty much it.
It's horror films that have social and cultural themes.
Darcy, the 1931 Frankenstein had social and cultural themes.
Okay, good point.
All the silent films had social and cultural themes. Phantom of the Opera, Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Horror has always had social and cultural themes. So
I think it's people talking about recent films.
yes, it is. It's people who hate horror trying to justify their love of a recent horror film. So thank you for writing, Stuart.
Okay. All right. Joe Bob Briggs, everyone. So here's the question. Are you on, let's have a show of hands. We're going to have Team Joe Bob and Team Darcy, the male girl. Who agrees with what Joe Bob Briggs is saying there? Okay.
That's bigger than I thought.
Who agrees with what Darcy's saying? Anybody? No? Carla does? Okay. Okay, well, she's got to have somebody in her corner. She follows me on Blue Sky, by the way.
Okay. At catbusruss.bsky.social. All right.
So you think that elevated horror is, why don't we like that term for the people who raise their hands?
I think in the horror community, I think it's seen as more of a pejorative because of the fact that horror has typically been, at least up until, I guess, fairly recently, kind of omitted from sort of the historic film institution in some way in the awards conversations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a blanket pejorative, but I do see it as a term that like offends obviously horror lifers and respected people like Joe Bob Briggs because of the fact that it's like now we're in a renaissance period of horror, and it's using it almost as a way to justify giving this mainstream credence, where a lot of these classic horror movies that we all love from the 80s and 90s that we knew were good when they dropped, when we knew they were good, we knew they were important and significant artistically and thematically. We all knew that. The mainstream critics, mainstream Hollywood sort of otherized that.
Yeah, very well said. Thank you.
All right, my rebuttal to that, I think, is I go back to the 80s, and yes, I dig The Burning, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play. Funny fact, I was up for Andy, but
oh wow,
different, sliding doors. I digress. But you look at Friday the 13th, and then you look at the sequels to A Nightmare on Elm Street, and then whatever Charles Band was putting out, your Ghoulies, your Gremlins knockoffs. There really isn't much social commentary, I think, in those features. Now you have your John Carpenters, your George Romeros, who Siskel and Ebert hated. But they always have a message with their horror movies. The Thing's solely about paranoia. They Live is about Reagan. It's but there were a lot of stuff, especially when you go, since it can be done on such low budgets, that you had full moon features, whatever Roger Corman could put his CG to, that there are just movies that lack that social commentary. I was on a panel in Indiana with monster making master Lynette Eklund, and she was getting on me about the fact that I'm like, well, this was about communism. This was that. I don't want that. I just want the monster to hide in the dark and jump scare me. So I think there is a difference between elevated horror and the stuff we all love. I get on that a lot back with my 90 for Chill panel today.
Flicks versus cinema.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Capital F flicks, and there's a reason why I never put full caps on my podcast name, because that FLICKS, you put that, you slide that I a little bit to that L, and that's the wrong kind of F.
Yeah. Please.
Well, to be fair to that point, I think most genres of film have the bad and the good ones in it, but we don't call them necessarily elevated romance or elevated sci-fi, right?
No, I would say you do, like, people, elevated horror, the term is something current. Like, they didn't think about that back then, and this might actually go to Joe Bob's argument. Like, you go through Zardos or the 70s, just a golden era, Silent Running, Logan's Run. They all had, I think, usually when you put something like, say, romance or science fiction, the subtlety is a lot more difficult when it comes to your message.
Okay.
Like, you put star-crossed lovers together. That's not really a social. I mean, everybody's got that concept.
Let me ask. I think what we're really talking about is an idea of high art versus low art. Now, who would say that that's a distinct? Who believes in that distinction? Anybody? Show your hand if you believe in that distinction. Higher versus low art.
Lowbrow versus highbrow.
Sure. I mean, but I have a hard time. I have a hard time with that, because even if there is not, if a film is not even really intended to tell you something, to push a particular idea, that doesn't mean it has no value as art. You can still analyze it from different perspectives. We can practice death of the author here, where we say it doesn't really matter what the creator of this film was trying to say. It matters what we get out of it, right? So I don't like. I don't know. We might have to agree to disagree on this one.
No, that's fair. When it comes, but like I will say this though, I was used to follow the magazine Juxtapose.
Okay.
Which proudly said it's lowbrow.
Okay.
I have a Frank Kosick tattoo on my neck. My favorite tattoo. It's a rabbit smoking a cigarette, and it's just basically there's so it gets a little messy because there is a commentary about society with such simple images, and I guess I don't see that as much in lowbrow cinema, dare I say. Maybe I just have to look deeper.
Maybe we're missing terms here because lowbrow and low art I don't necessarily think are the same thing. Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm looking for another audio jack.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think we've sort of delved into some of the controversy here over what elevated horror is, right? So I have a. Is there anything else you want to say that? Okay. I have a alternate idea here for what we can do. All right, and let me know if you think I'm onto something. Okay, that's enough, Joe Bob. All right, here's an idea of something called emotive or emo horror. It must be made after 2010, and it must contain one of the other two following things. 1, prioritizes creeping dread over jump scares and gore. 2, explores themes of grief, trauma, and or identity. Do we think that this is a real thing? Is this thing that... Yeah, go ahead, Waldo.
I don't know. I've noticed that myself, that there's a really big difference between kind of, like you said, creeping dread, kind of like, you know, your classic ghost stories, the kind of stuff you get in, say, an Ari Aster or some of these A24 movies where it's like...
Yeah.
It is that anxiety or that dread going, the really scary movies, other than, say, like a Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's all about the viscera, the gore, and that's like...
Sure.
Two completely different styles. For one, I think one is one way of doing it more visceral, one is more spiritual.
Okay, visceral versus spiritual. Like, you know, the idea here would be that one, it gives you a physical reaction, the other makes you think.
Makes you feel sick.
Yeah.
I feel like that's not what you're saying. That's kind of what you're saying here, though.
Yeah, no, I think it does line up.
Is your feelings versus jump scares and gore, which is more visual.
Yeah.
So.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the first rule because the second, like the last two rules, there's a movie that fits that category perfectly, but it was actually made before 2010, and it's called Lake Mungo. That was made in 2008.
Yeah, it's on my watch list.
That's about prioritizing dread and exploring themes of trauma and grief. That's
well, let's.
one of the best ever do it.
Well, I could even go back to, sorry to jump in there, but I think it was 1998 and 2007's Funny Games. I mean, so yeah, the 2010 thing might not work, but this is it really so the sheer concept of so the year cap doesn't work because there's even movies in the 90s. Hell,
well,
the Best Picture winner in 1991 was a horror movie, Silence of the Lambs.
Sure.
So
let me qualify it a little bit.
Okay.
So I would say that this could describe a movie from about any decade. What I'm saying is that I think that you can make a case that these particular things are more pronounced in many of the horror films made after 2010.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. I would probably say it's more psychological.
More psychological?
Than specifically emo.
Okay. And maybe what I'm trying to get to here, and I think thank you for that is, I think elevated horror, the way elevated is not a good way to put it, and maybe emotive or emo horror is maybe not good either. That emo has certain connotations to it too. Depending on who you are, you might find those connotations to be, good or bad. You know, I'm a punk rock ska kid, so I'm not really into emo.
Well, and me being Gen Xer, my emo was The Cure
Sure.
and Joy Division. So when I hear emo and how it's used, I just don't want it to be touched. Like, I'm gonna say no. Post New Wave.
Post New Wave. Okay.
Hey, that might work.
We'll go here.
Well, as a millennial emo, I think it's kind of funny.
All right, and then.
But I get what you're saying.
Yes, thank you. Ash.
So we were kind of talking about like the different genres and how like there was maybe some older movies that kind of do these.
Yeah.
I started thinking about like some psychological thrillers that were kind of like flirting with horror, but never really categorized as horror.
Sure.
And I feel like after this 2010 benchmark, we started seeing more like, you know, kind of like things like you were seeing like Fight Club, things like in a lot of Nolan films where like it's more like psychological mind play, but then they started adding in more supernatural elements to really elevate to more like a official horror genre.
Can you think of anything in particular?
Like for example, with like a lot of the A24 films where like they really planted in reality, like a lot of psychological thrillers where you're like, oh, this is just gonna be a normal, like grounded in reality, like all these things could happen.
Yeah.
And so you kind of let your guard down, thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna go for like a mind bend, and they prey on that by then introducing the supernatural elements, and you're like, wait a minute, this is not, you know, this isn't Inception, this isn't the one where he goes Memento.
Yeah.
There's something creepy going on that's more like horror inducing.
Well, thank you for mentioning good, Nolan. Dark Knight overrated.
I feel like with respect to this genre of emotive emo horror that you're describing, I feel like it's, I don't know if you've heard the phrase standing on the shoulders of giants.
Sure.
I feel like in this particular genre it owes a lot to David Lynch's filmography, particularly
Sure.
Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Like I see a lot of like similarities between I Saw TV and the third season of Twin Peaks.
No. Lost Highway, Blue Velvet. You could. My favorites of Lynch's is Wild at Heart. But I would also say that it's more of a Western thing now. When we've had elevated horror, like you go to the East, Japan, Korea, they've had those subtle supernatural movies going in there. They're just, and I think, well,
Kiyoshi Kurosawa.
Correct. It's in Japan they don't consider it horror unless you bring ghost play into it. So
yeah, and Kurosawa. Oh, if you haven't seen Pulse, the J-horror version of Pulse, check it out. One of my favorites. So I'm kind of shopping an idea to you all here tonight. Just that there is a movement in horror that is meant to be a bit more cerebral. It's just been misnamed. Please.
Yeah, I was going to, not to interrupt you, but I was going to add to that too. I think subgenre exploration is very interesting, especially in the realm of music too. Like, we haven't got some metal fans in here. There's Linkin metal. There's industrial metal. There's melodic metal. I'm probably the minority in this room. I love country music. There's country. There's neo-traditionalist country music. There's bro country. There's, outlaw country, rap, conscious rap, trap rap. There's even emo rap too.
Sure.
I think the emo rap kind of coincides with this trend, or like this time period, this 2010, post 2010. It's all about framework. You don't hear, like you brought up earlier, you don't hear elevated drama, you don't hear elevated comedy. I think this emo horror or emotive horror, I think that is a way more descriptive tone, because if you say elevated horror, just saying that to somebody who doesn't know, you're going to need a definition. If you say emotive horror, you might not even need, if somebody who's not as familiar with that term, you can kind of draw context clues on it. I think it's more specific, and I think it's more appropriate, and it's not condescending to the genre and genre fans.
Okay. Just because I have dealt with and lived with people with neurodivergent horror. Anybody?
Neuro-Spicy horror?
There we go.
Yeah. I'm a little neuro-spicy myself, so. All right. Well, any more thoughts on the idea of elevated horror or emotive horror? Please.
I think emotive horror is a good term. Mine would probably be something like
Atmospheric horror. Okay.
That's well, I think atmosphere has always played a part, though.
Sure.
It's not the end all be all. It's
like, it's hard, folks. Okay, I tried here.
we came up Neuro-Spicy. I mean that
Neuro-Spicy. Waldo. Psychological horror, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that term. So.
Yeah, that's a term I like better. Please.
It's not really to add on to like the argument, but I do think the elevated horror conversation kind of picked up again when Scream had their kind of soft reboot of the series. Because one of the main characters, when she got her phone call from Ghostface, she said she didn't really like horror, but she liked elevated horror.
Yeah, Jenna Ortega's character.
Which Babadook, all of those type of movies. So I think it started coming back into the conversation, and people kind of arguing for and against it.
Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right about that.
Well, that and when you also think about like a lot of traditional horror, like it's a very broad encompassing umbrella that includes a lot of campy horror. Like when you think of like things like old like Riverdale, like Archie cartoons.
Yeah.
You know, like the soft reboot where they think they're trying to do something edgy, but it's still kind of not super like elevated.
Sure.
So I think that's also part of that perception too, where like a bunch of people felt like they needed to create like a difference because a good chunk of horror is so broad and not all of it's super offering a lot of commentary.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, I think we had a good talk about this. Kind of what I wanted to get to with the idea of A24 horror is kind of inseparable from elevated horror. But, if you haven't heard these terms before, there's certainly lots of places you can go. You can just go to Reddit and find people talking about it there, I guess. But you guys want to watch some scenes?
Yes.
Okay. These are all A24 horror films, of course. We're going to start with one from our hometown boys. They did a screening of this film at the Varsity not too long ago. Where they came and answered a lot of questions. Good times. Hopefully they'll have more to show us sometime soon. All right, so spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen any of the films that we're about to see bits of. This is a scene from Heretic.
It is all terrifying, isn't it? I'm sorry. It is. It is all. Scary. I'm scared. I'm scared just saying it out loud, really. Watches when we masturbate, and he has such a fragile ego that he only helps us when we beg him and shower him with praise, and he hates gay people for being what he made them to be. Well, that's terrifying. If there's no God, and we're just horny microscopic ants floating on a rock through space with no divine purpose and no hope to achieve eternal life, well, that's terrifying too.
Either the church is true, or it is a fraud. It is the church and kingdom of God, or it is nothing.
You agree with that? Would it help if I told you this is Gordon B. Hinckley, the 15th president of your church? You agree with Gordon?
Yes.
Thought you might.
So either it is all true,
or none of it's true. Yes?
Yes.
Then I want you to choose which door to go through based on your faith.
Are you asking us for us to deliberate our belief in the church factor, which will correspond to us going home?
I'm asking you to choose between belief and disbelief. My own claim is that all 10,000 verifiable religions that exist in the world today are as artificial as the symbolic church you're currently standing in. It is false. There is nothing holy here. Your religious text is mere ornament as hollow and as capitalistic as these ridiculous games.
Okay, so we have here two Mormon missionaries trapped in the house of Hugh Grant's,
Mr. Reed.
Mr. Reed, trapped in Mr. Reed's house. So my question to you is, where does the scary come in this scene? What's the scary bits? Is it what he's talking about, or is it something else? Please, in the back.
I think the belief of uncertainty creates a deeper level of enforcing anxiety that goes about mistrust. Like the elements of A24 movies have a lot of that, where it's just like makes you second guess the intentions of people. Specifically in this film, I also think that it's that the uneasiness of his tone and body language as well too builds up more scary factors instead of actual horror.
Gotcha.
But that's great. The uncertainty and everybody, great actresses there. Sophie Thatcher, definitely watch Companion.
Yeah.
But the body language and everything, and just the idea of uncertainty, and that leads the audience to be uncertain. Like, so what is going to await them? That's the only thing certain we have.
Yeah.
Is something is going to screw with them.
And has everybody seen the rest of this film? Yeah. Okay. Good. Definitely check it out. The rest. This should be This is almost a good trailer for it, I think, to the kind of scary that we have here. We don't have a whole heck of a lot of time, so let's just move on to the next scene, I think. Let's see what it is. Yep, thank you. No. Okay, yes. All right, next one's intense, all right? So if toxic family dynamics are not your thing, this may not be the scene for you. I just want to give that little content warning here. But this is from Ari Aster's Hereditary.
You okay, Mom? What? Is there something on your mind?
Is there something on your mind?
It just seems like there might be something you're saying.
Like what? I mean, why would I want to say something so I could watch you sneer at me?
Sneer at you? I don't ever sneer at you.
Oh, sweetie, you don't have to. You get your point across.
Okay, so fine. Say what you want to say then.
I don't want to say anything. I've tried saying.
Okay, so try again. Release yourself.
Oh, release you mean?
Yeah, fine. Release me. Just say it. Just fucking say it.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother! Do you understand? All I do is worry and slave and defend you. And all I get back is that fucking face on your face. So full of disdain and resentment and always so annoyed. Well, now your sister is dead. And I know you miss her. And I know it was an accident. And I know you're in pain. And I wish I could take that away from you. I wish I could shield you from the knowledge that you did what you did. But your sister is dead. She's gone forever. And what a waste. If the committee brought us together or something. If you could just said, I'm sorry, or faced up to what happened. Maybe then we could do something with this. But you can't take responsibility for anything. So now I can't accept. And I can't forgive. Because nobody admits anything they've done.
That's why we should name it.
Alright, we're stopping this right now. Ted?
I said, stop right now.
Fine.
Do you think this is a career best for Toni Collette?
It's regarded as that by most. I've seen a lot of Toni Collette though, so
Okay, I saw that what was the one when she played the woman with the split personalities? That was a TV series.
That was the United States of Terror.
Right, United States of Terror. That's right. She gets to have you get to see her whole range in that one. So this is Martin Scorsese's favorite scene from this movie. Probably the most memorable scene. What do y'all think of this scene?
Well, they're dealing with a grief at this point in the movie, and dinner starts out silent when most families at least chat a little bit during their dinner time. So you're kind of sitting there waiting for the bomb to drop, and then they start sniping at each other, and it builds and builds until the explosion.
Waldo?
For me, it's the same kind of feeling like if you were invited to a guest dinner, like at your friend's house, and they suddenly blew up like that. It's that discomfort you feel on the outside, watching all of that go down, and you're not supposed to witness this. It's like that's how it feels for me. Like this is
Bouncing off of your points, if you've ever had family members, a brother or sister who's been in an argument with parents, that's exactly what kind of situation you would be in. So it has that relatability to the audience.
Yeah.
Kind of adding to everyone else's viewpoints is what I like about A24 films is that it's not only external through external conflict through dialogue and stuff, but you can definitely like what they were saying, see the atmosphere and see the internal conflict that each character dynamic has.
Yeah. Really shows you a lot about who these characters are in this scene.
It gives the actors a lot of meat to play with.
Well, that might be the big thing about A24 is when you're watching Friday the 13th, we're not expecting the actors to have meat to play with. They are the meat. Let's get to that.
Okay. Got one more scene for you, and this is I wanted to do one that was more classic horror. Okay, so this scene comes after a monologue that might be even better, but I didn't want to put in a 6-minute scene. Okay, so here we go.
Oh
I knew it. It's the monologue. I'm like, it has to be. It has to be.
You guys get everything we want.
Mia Goth, horror icon.
And younger or more blonde. I have to go now. You're not gonna say anything, are you? No? I really do love Howard. Nobody has to know. I can fix things. It can be our secret, Mitzi.
There we go, folks. That was Pearl, the second of the Ty West X trilogy. And you gotta love those one shots, don't you? Those long shots that that start with with a moving camera, and also just you know, my ADHD brain also tells me to tell you to watch One Cut of the Dead, one of the best J horror movies in recent years. So, what do you think of Missy's death scene in Pearl?
I think because well, the monologue I'll just say is just absolutely phenomenal.
And I wish we could have fit that in. Yeah.
With her death, I really love, like, speaking of just like the horror giddy aspect of it. I love like the background kind of music, and like where it's like it's feeling more intense, and it just kind of like going a little bit faster, then a little bit faster, and then like you can just see Mia's like she's just spent. There's no emotion or care left. Like it's all over for her. She has nothing, and it's just her dark desires left. Like there's nothing that she can say or do that would change.
Well, I love the speaking of the soundtrack, the brilliance of Pearl is just that it is very much Wizard of Oz. So that soundtrack even kind of fits. Like, flying monkeys coming, which, you know, lower horror, they'd probably have flying monkeys take Mitzi away, but...
I think we had a couple comments over here.
I love it all, except for the fact that that's not the way you hold an axe.
No? How do you think she should act?
You hold the end of it. You don't hold it up like this. You can't chop.
Okay.
I know it's a dicing situation. You gotta.
Well, there's that. To be fair, she might not know how to hold the axe properly.
She should know.
Now I'm just gonna say I'm an X over Pearl fan, even though the genius of Pearl. I will always tell people to see Pearl first, just because of how out there it is. We didn't really get Chekhov's alligator in this one, and it was teased. So
I think we do get a Chekhov's axe, though. Go ahead.
So one thing I noticed, not just about this scene, but about all three scenes, is I've not seen any of the movies, and knowing that these are the type of movies where like there's a lot of dread and suspension, and those usually scare the piss out of me. Seeing these without that build-up, without that context, definitely takes a lot of the horror element out, because it needs that full, complete story for it to have that impact. And that was something I noticed about all three clips.
it's something I had friends who are watching YouTube videos at work. They're watching the quick explanation of everything from this because they just don't have the nerve to sit through it from beginning to the end. And I would say that with Midsommar, and I thought that movie ended up rather hopeful myself. Beret, blonde.
Yeah, you were talking about the moving camera angles. I feel like that makes you feel like you're moving with them in the scene. And I think that also plays into the character's acting because the blonde girl's like, oh man, like I know I'm not leaving this farm alive somehow. Like you can just tell in her face and like her tone of body language and everything. And then like with Pearl, she's like, yeah, she's not leaving alive, but I don't know what I'm gonna do to her yet. And the other girl's also like, oh, what's she gonna do to me? And yeah, playing that.
Uncertainty. We're getting back to that uncertainty, right? Not uncertain for long, but Waldo, and then we'll go over here.
I think the one probably issue I have with it is that like, while she's kind of running it, like I can't believe that she really believes that she's actually going to be killed because like it just doesn't feel like she's running as hard as you think that you would run. It's like the whole Barbara's night looking dead thing, you know, where you spend half the movie hands on and you trip over your own shoes. It's just kind of tropes it.
We saw John Barrowman nearly eat it a few times today.
We did, yeah.
So I will say, if you're not wearing flats, you're shagged.
All right, there and then there.
I was also going to mention the walking pace of the characters. They're wearing dresses, so the blonde woman running away has some problem trying to keep it up and keep running in the heeled shoes. So it made a little bit more sense than the counselors tripping and falling in the Friday the 13th sequence. And it also kind of helped explain Pearl's movement's a little bit better. You probably can't run after her either, but then again, they're on this remote farm. She doesn't have to.
Yeah.
She probably knows a way around it.
Okay.
Wherever Blondie runs.
Let's go to here and then there. Yep.
Without the context of X, you don't really know Pearl, so you don't really get that core of who she is. And also, with not really the rest of the movie in context, you don't really know the scene or who Pearl is, so you don't really get that much of the core.
Yeah.
Well,
there is the death, yes, there is violence, but it's not really.
It's the spectacle that makes me recommend Pearl over X, despite I find X to be the better film. The dance number that's going to sell the non-horror fan on seeing it.
Now, I think some of you have pointed to the problem with just watching clips or scenes. It does take things out of context, but as much as I might like to have all screen of an entire movie, we just have to work within the confines of what we got here.
Oh, no, I was just saying that to his point earlier. I was like, well, she's in heels. I don't know if you've ever turned her into heels. But
I have not.
All right. Up top.
Another director that I've noticed influences a lot of the styles of a lot of kind of what you described as kind of like emotionalist, devoted horror. Are you familiar with the works of Brian Palma?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like Carrie seems to be kind of a through line for a lot of stuff. We talked about like the running shots or whatever. I know there's other directors who have done it before, but some of my favorite usage of it is in Brian Palma's Phantom of Paradise. It's absolutely fantastic.
That is one. Yeah, that is Phantom of the Opera, but done with that was like 70s, right?
Yeah, it was pretty much his first big one.
Yeah.
I mean, he was more of an instructor, I think, at NYU. Well, going back to the running issue, I did, again, my panel with movie monster maker Lynette Eglund. She did say she owned a cornfield maze for a while, horror themed. And, you got zombies and stuff jumping out at you. And she just says, no, that will happen. It's not, the camp counselor thing is a real thing. No matter how prepared you are.
I can say, as someone who's worked on one of those before, I was on the top of a combine harvester or whatever. Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah.
Any more comments on Pearl? Definitely check out the X trilogy if you haven't. It goes X, Pearl, Maxine, Maxine with 3 X's, and Mia Goth is in all 3 of them. She's great. She is our new. I wouldn't necessarily call her a scream queen, just like a horror icon. I think it's
she's the new Barbara Crampton.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So Infinity Pool from Brandon Cronenberg.
Yeah. See that one too. What else has she been in? That's good. Cure for Wellness.
No,
Okay.
yeah.
I haven't seen that, but yep. She's been.
Frankenstein too.
Oh yeah, she is, isn't she? Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Hey, thank you so much for staying later with me. I think we went about 15 minutes over time, but you've been a great audience tonight. I hope you have a great rest of your time, and thank you so much for coming to see A24 Horror at the Arthouse. I have been Jess McCord.
Cat Bus Russ.
And if you want to find me, you can find me on Blue Sky at Skies of Fortune, or on Facebook and Twitter too. Thank you very much for being here, and we'll see you we'll see you.
Can I hear a wahoo?
This podcast was made possible by the love and support of Dave and Cindy Stevens, Rory Stevens and Allison Higgins, Danny Daniels, and Stephanie Smith.
Long live Flash! You've saved your Earth. Have a nice day.
Anyways, here's what I think about Arthur Planet. I think he's really good at projecting menace when he's not actually doing anything. But the killing scenes, it seem a little over the top to me. I don't really like it. Like Hostel or Solace.
The torture porn idea.
Yeah. Like, I don't. If you like that, that's fine. It's just like it's not for me.
Not really horror. It's a torture.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, she has no chance of getting out. You just like what the hell? You know, it's like way too.
Well, I mean, it all pays off. It all pays off. Saying Hostel, though, we're all once we get to our revenge segment, it's not the case with Terrifier. I know that.
Not really. Art the Clown is firmly in charge the entire time. Got a little doggy out there. I don't know. Kind of a cute little dog. I don't even saw that little terrier. You know. Oh, there's. Have you heard about Good Boy? By the way, that's a new horror flick coming out sometime soon.
Yeah.
All from the perspective of the doggo. So the dog better survive. Is all I have to say. Yeah.
I've talked about it on my podcast, though. It's kind of like, it usually works out well, though, story-wise, if you kill the dog.
It's sad, though.
I mean, Mad Max didn't have humanity in the Road Warrior until they just randomly kill a dog.
I'm going to take a page from your book and hand out a few cards. This is what I'm up to, aside from talking about horror movies. So if you're interested, I do some podcasting on tabletop role-playing games. I'm working on a tabletop role-playing game called Guess What? Skies of Origin. You can follow, I do a lot of my online activity on Blue Sky Pack, where you can see my work. Oh, yeah, you can do it. I'm going to run out pretty quick here, so I'll read out to as many people as I can. Would you like to? Okay, fair enough. Appreciate it. Last one, should I throw it to somebody? No, I don't think it will. Thank you. But yeah, I want to say, first of all, I appreciate all of you coming here instead of to the masquerade. Very cool of you. We're still waiting a few minutes to get started to see if anybody else trickles in. But what has everybody been having a good con this year?
All right.
Yeah. Glad to hear it. What have you been up to? Q&As? Have you been up to just shopping? What do you like? Yeah, there you go. People watching for sure. Oh, I was thinking about going to that Q&A this morning, but what did they have to? What did you learn there?
Most of them don't have a least favorite animal.
They don't have a least favorite animal. Well, what? Okay.
I'm tired. I
No,
can't think.
they've got so much coming up that they couldn't say much because they would do spoilers.
Yeah.
They had turning down questions from the audience and stuff. It's like, we would love to talk about that, but we can't.
Yeah, I mean, and even Hell of a Boss is just about to come out too, right? So.
You're right. They finally got everything on Amazon now.
Boss just did, and Has Been Hotel comes out in October.
Okay. So Has Been Hotel, if you don't know, is also an A24
Oh
production.
yeah.
So they've got that going on. There's probably a hit they didn't even realize was going to be a hit. I'm not sure, but it's cool. So I've only seen a few episodes, but yeah.
I've watched the first season, loved it, and then I just keep trying to introduce people to it, and some of them are just saying, "Well, isn't that just The Good Place?"
No.
Well, I try to tell them that, but you talk about the idea of like, hey, everybody can go to heaven, and like, oh no, like The Good Place. Yeah. Okay, with Satan, how can? Yes.
Yeah.
Ted Danson is nothing compared to Keith David.